Hello, welcome back to Mackenzie Woodworking. What we're going to be building here is a wine barrel patio bar. There it is there, so stay tuned. I'd like to thank Windsor Plywood for sponsoring this video. They've supplied the barrels and all the material needed to bring this project to you. They're a great store. They've got a really good construction division, doors and windows, and then all their stores have got all kinds of hardwood and of course the best plywood of all different brands and makes that you need for your project, and all the bits and pieces. So go on down and visit their stores, and they're a great bunch of people down there, and they'll help you with all your projects, big or small. Windsor Plywood. Thanks a lot, guys. Project today, there it is there, the wine barrel. So what I've done is taken off the barrel hoops on the outside and gave it a rough sand, and just showing you here the top. I want to actually, I'll be sanding the top, but I want to be careful not to take off the name of the company that built the barrel. So we'll just give that a light sand, and this barrel is made by the World Cooperage Company. I haven't looked it up, but I should look it up. And it's American oak, and tells you the size of the barrel. So I'm just giving it a finishing sand here, and this is a soft sander. It's got a foam backer on it, and I can take any of the square edges off. I just bring them down to 150. So this is my final sand. And I'll just airs the edges and go all the way along. I've got the barrel sitting on a cradle, so it makes it quite stable. If you follow around the channel and watch some of the other videos I've shown making the cradle, I actually have it under the barrel there now. So we've coated the barrel with one coat of spar varnish. That's the first coat. And I thin it down by 20% with mineral solvents, and that'll just saturate into the barrel. And you see here I've sanded the top, and I've, in the embossed area where it said the World Cooperage, I just gave it a spray paint of black paint, so when we sand it off it'll really stand out. I'd like to see that. Here we are the next day. We've got the hoops painted. I just went with a flat black paint, and we've got that on and measured from the top to make sure that it's even all the way around. And what I'm using is number 10 self-drilling hex end screws, and putting the other hoops on. I've inverted the barrel and just going along, make sure it's nice and tight, and when I get it all measured off, then I'll put the rest of the screws in as well. And I'll snap the other one on the top. I said it's important when you do this, just take a tape measure and measure from the top of your barrel. Make sure that they're all the same height. You don't want to look at them going on an angle. And here we are. We have it back on the cradle. And I've taped off the door. We're going to have a door in the bottom of the barrel. So that's the bottom portion of it. I've already had some screws in here, and I'm putting some screws back into the door area, and we'll also screw off the band area as well too before we make any cuts. You can see on the door I've rounded the corners, so the jigsaw, I'll be cutting it out with a jigsaw, and they can go around nicely. Are there. Just put in some more of these screws. They work great for this application, especially with the drill head on them. No need of pilot holes or anything, and they'll go right in. I think I've done about 10 different barrel projects with these, and I've only broken off 2 screws, and the oak is quite hard, so they work good for here. We're just taking a mini grinder and a zip blade, and we're just cutting off the metal. And what I'll do is I'll just ride the blade a bit on the side of the metal so that it makes the opening a little bit wider so that the jigsaw blade can go through and it doesn't pinch when the door opens. So here we are going through. This oak is hard. Don't think that it's soft because it's had fluids in it. It's a really hard product. I've had to change the blade, and this is a brand new blade, and I only got halfway around and I put on a new blade again. I don't want to take the chance of splitting any of the wood or anything. So here we are, we've changed the blade and we started it again, and so I'll just continue all the way around and get this cut out. And I'm letting the jigsaw follow the angle of the barrel because I want the door to actually wedge in whenever it closes. So I'm not trying to go in straight, I'm trying to follow the angle. And that'll mean that the door will seat into the opening nicely whenever we put the hinge plates on it. I'm just following along the bottom of the hoop there, the barrel hoop. And we'll just come right around the corner and it should just... And the door won't drop in because it's wedged in there. You see it's cut all the way through, and what I'll do is just back out one of the screws a little bit, and then I can get my claw hammer in there to grab the door and pull it out. So we can take a look at it and size it up. There it is. Beautiful color in the inside these barrels. And the smell is just fantastic. Whenever you cut an opening into them or a door, it's just wonderful. If I ever have any bits and pieces of wood that I don't use in the barrel, I chop it all up. And for anybody that's working on barrels, if you smoke or barbecue, throw in a few pieces into your barbecue when you're cooking your steaks and hamburgers or pork chops, and you'll get that oak winey flavor out of the oak. I do a lot of smoking. We also have a project on a barrel smoker that I did, which we use constantly. So here we've marked out the hinge plates, the one side, so we'll be doing the barrel first, and then I'll get them all set into the height and everything that I need, and then from that point we'll go ahead and put the door in. So we're just taking our trim saw, and we'll just make some cuts to our depth. You can see I have a pencil mark there, how deep I'm going to go. I prefer to do this with hand tools than a router. It's a little dangerous rocking around with a router and a cut bit in here. So just make some smaller marks, and then we'll take our chisel and we'll knock those out. I'll do the top one and the bottom one. And then we can lay our hinge plates in. It's important that your chisels are sharp. Like I said, this oak is actually quite hard. Our chisels, we'll just knock those out. Wear down the bumps and everything with a bigger chisel. It's important to check your hinge plate up against it. You want this nice and flat. You don't want your hinge plate to rock at all. There it is, just double checking it with the edge of my chisel there. And I'll just pare it off to make sure it's nice and flat. And there's our hinge plates in there. The hinges that you want to get for the doors, you want to make sure that they're 2 inches wide. They're as wide as you can get them. And then you put in your first one and just run a square edge on top of it, and you want to run down so that the top of the two hinges are parallel to each other. You don't want them to curve around the barrel, you want them to be flat across the top. So here we are, we have it, you can see we have the two cutouts for the hinges. Now what I'm just going to do is soften up the edge and airs the edge a bit, and make sure there's no sharp pieces on the steel. These are great low sanders. We use these constantly in the shop for all kinds of projects. I believe they're used a lot in welding and automotive shops. They're a little air sander, 1 inch wide by you just soften everything up. Just make sure there's no steel. Then we'll proceed to put the hinge on, and we'll fit the door to the hinge plates. Once I pop them on, once we put the hinge places in place and made the tops parallel to each other, I just took a Sharpie on the inside and marked off the hinges, and then we're cutting that off so that they're even on the inside of the barrel. And I'll take all the sharp edges off. Do that as top and bottom. And then I'll paint them black. And I marked both sides of the hinges because once you have one side done, you can do the other side. There's the inside of the door. What we have is a couple of battens on the inside, or purlins, and I've cut those on the bandsaw to match the door. The bottom is a 4-degree angle and the top is a 7-degree angle. So, and then I'll pull those tight and put some glue in behind them and fasten them through the front. So there's the opening of the door. And we have the purlins on, and I've mounted them and glued them and painted them black. And we're just fitting the door now. And now I'll just transfer my marks for the hinge plates to the other side. And then I can put my hinge plates on. You see it fits quite nicely. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned. There's 2 more coming up with the completion of this project. And it came out quite nice. Well, thanks a lot for watching.